So good news. We'd done this story quite a few months ago, and it's about Cara Delevingne. And if you remember, she wasn't doing very well. She had a trip that she was going on. She was in Los Angeles, I think Van Nuys Airport, going onto a private hangar or something like that, for a private plane to go to Burning Man. And she looked totally worse for wear. Her dog was not being taken care of, and her people were a little bit frazzled. It did not look good, and she looked like she was in a bad place. And good news, it turns out that things are going a lot better for Cara. She seems to be doing well. I think because it's Fashion Week that's been going on all over the world, that we're getting to see a little bit more of her. So now I'm going to find the article that talks about her, and that would be, of course, our trusted source, the Daily Mail. Yeah, of course. Let's dive right in. Let's dig in, yeah? So, all right. Do you like my new background? I figured, look, let me get more homey with this live. So, look, I'm homey. All right, and it says here, inside Cara Delevingne's years of addiction and mental health struggles, from waking up with a hangover aged 7 to an out-of-control Burning Man trip that led to those heartbreaking paparazzi shots. And that's the ones I was talking to you a lot about. They were really sad. I, for one, was very worried about the dog, yeah? Because it's defenseless. You know, it depends on you to be all right and for all its needs. So you've got to be on the straight and narrow, well, not on the straight and narrow, but you've got to at least be sober to properly take care of an animal, or even children for that matter. So anyway, so it says here, for years, Cara Delevingne was the darling of the fashion world after rocketing to supermodel stardom at the age of 10. Does that sound normal to you? At the age of 10? That does not sound normal to me. Supermodel. That's odd. She was in a Bruce Weber shoot for Vogue Italia, but her reputation began publicly unraveling following a series of increasingly erratic outings. So the final straw, it seems, is the publication of pictures that showed her looking distressed at a private airport in Van Nuys, California. And yeah, I alerted all of you about it because I don't think people were really sort of paying attention that this was a woman that needed help. Yeah. So this is after her returning from Burning Man. Apparently, she was not eating all that much and looked disheveled. So this is what she looked like. You know, on the runway. Right? It says here, this week, the 30-year-old reflected on her mental health struggles and addiction battle in a new interview with Vogue. So you guys should definitely look up the Vogue interview. You know what? If I find it, I don't know if it's online. I will put it in the description. And this is what she looks like right here. Right? Looking, yeah, not good. Not good. Is that a fat blunt, as they say? Yeah, is that a fat blunt? That's what it's looking. It's giving, I'm totally high. I don't care who's looking at me. I'll smoke a fat blunt right there. So she's on the cover of Vogue in April. This is the Ben Eyes incident. She was wearing her socks on the ground outside. Yeah, look at that. And this is her as a child. So she definitely goes into her addiction and all of that in the Vogue article. She says it shapes the child of every kid whose parent has an addiction. You grow up too quickly because you're parenting your parents. So it sounds like it started as an early age. She was raised by her socialite mother, who secretly battled heroin addiction and was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So not her fault, right? In her genes. But you definitely have to understand that if it's in your genes, if your parents have had that problem, then you've got to do something to sort of, I don't know, mitigate that or make sure that it doesn't happen to you, right? Because at the end of the day, look, you were armed with information. My parent or one of my parents or my parents are addicted to drugs. It's your business now to be like, yeah, let me do something different. Let me go to the different path, right? And that's up to you. And I think that's the thing that people sort of like overlook. That you've got a responsibility as well to make sure that you're not going down that path. But again, sometimes, DNA can take over much more on your environment. If it's not conducive to staying sober, then that's an issue. Like, I swear to God, if somebody tells you that they're on a sober journey, the last thing you need to be doing is either drinking or taking drugs in front of them. Do you understand? And it seems like a lot of people don't care. Or people just go, oh, no, you can drink or you can, I don't. No, you can't drink. No, you can't smoke. Okay, sorry about that. But that's another. And that's her sister. And that's Cara. So apparently she came out as pansexual in 2020. All right, we love that. And she struggled with her sexuality as a child. And this had contributed to her mental health issues and self-harm that began at age 15. So definitely, I think that if parents start paying attention very early on for certain signs that the children are struggling, I think that we might have a better society. That's all I'm saying, really. That's really all I'm saying. All right. So good on you, Cara. These are her parents. Okay. Colorful. Okay. All right. What a beautiful family. Okay. So you guys can check out the article, which will be in the source section of the description. All right. Congratulations, Cara. Apparently she's getting a handle on her sobriety and we're all here for it. You know what I mean? That's good news. Always. We want people to do well. We want this world to be a more positive place for one to live. I don't want to be faced with a bunch of drug addicts while I'm about to fly private. I feel like that's my right to go anywhere, actually, without being confronted with too many druggies. That's just all I'm saying. So it's better for me and all of you that her and other people are getting sober. I feel like we'll be less inconvenienced, to be honest. I really do. So it's quite an inconvenience to be faced with quite a few drug addicts where, you know, if you're living in a big city, it's an inconvenience. Mental health, that's not something that one can help. But at the end of the day, you can get diagnosed and you can be put on medication. So I don't know. I don't know. If you ain't taking your medication, then you're on purpose inconveniencing me. Like now gloves are off. Now you know, you're getting me mad. You're pissing me off. Yeah. So druggies of the world, get your stuff together. That's all I have to say, really. Get your stuff together, because I really don't want to be inconvenienced. And I'm sure the rest of the world doesn't either. Do you know what I'm saying? All right, enough of the PSA for today. Now I've got a TikTok video that I think is hilarious. So it's mainly dogs who are confronted with a cat or cats, or mainly a cat. Your dogs are scared of cats. Yeah. Dogs are scaredy cats of the cats. So it's a compilation video, and I thought it was cute. So I'm going to share it. I don't know if it expands. All right. Let's see. Right here. Okay. All right. Oh my God, he's shaking. Kitty. Round one. You shouldn't have come outside. Look. Oh God. I bury you. Wait. It's the look on that cat's face where I've got a. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at the kitty. Look at the kitty. Oh, the kitty's funny. See, look at that. All right. So don't you be playing with the little kitten. Dog said, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Oh. Oh my God, you are testing that dog. Oh, sit down. All right. It's the cat that sort of puts his paw, just, and then he knows he's about to get something like a lashing or whatever, and just goes, Ear. All right. No, I said I wanted to do more human stories, and then here I am, bringing cats and dogs. I don't know why. I don't know. I like it that it's my choice. Do you understand? It's my choice. I'm deciding to do this. Ain't nobody telling me to do nothing. Not that people were telling me, well, they kind of, you know, but for my life, I felt like I was like, for the network, you know, I felt like I couldn't do anything more. But at the end of the day, I've got to be me. I've got to be me. Do you understand? So that's what I'm doing. If I could really be me, I'd be in my pajamas with a bit of cocoa. Yeah. That's where it would be. Pajamas with cocoa. All right. So now there's an interesting story Again, I don't know why I'm still going back to them animals I thought I'd gotten away from. But I think you're all gonna enjoy this. All right. So check this out. It's called, let me share this with you. Share this with you. Share the screen. Right here. For this. Okay. It says here, a dog's lover pilgrimage. Okay, I don't want to talk to you. A dog lover's pilgrimage to Dog Mountain. All right. If Dog Mountain were just a joyful place where dogs can, so I can't get rid of you. If Dog Mountain were just a joyful place where dogs can run around or plop into nice pond, it would still be pretty special. 150 dog-friendly acres in the scenic hills of northern Vermont. But there is much, much more to this story. It's actually a real tearjerker, sweet but sad. Okay, see, here's my thing. Stop sharing for a minute. You people with your dogs off leash, yeah? Especially when it says on the sign, leash your dog, yeah? This is where you people need to go. Vermont, no leash. Go there. Stop annoying me on my little walks. It says here it began in 1994 when artist Stephen Honeck was injured falling down a flight of stairs. His injury causing him to develop a rare, often fatal lung condition. He said, I was dead for like 5 minutes, not breathing. He says in 2009, reliving the nightmare, it was in a coma. He was in a coma. I was in a coma for over 2 months. They pretty much wrote me off, as people do. Yeah, people are mean. His wife, Gwen, also recalled at the time, she said, I said to myself, I'm going to be positive. Good on you. I'm going to believe he's going to get better. Okay, we'll get to the meat of the story. The hell? And he learned how to walk again. He credited his dogs. My dogs really took care of me, would go for short walks in the woods, and they really stayed right there with me. Nice. Oh, look at them. They're beautiful. So that's the dog chapel. What's the name of the other dog? Oh, in their dog chapel. Oh, it's a dog chapel. So his dogs became the subjects of the now famous woodcuts he was finally strong enough to make. His black lab, Sally, was featured in a series of best-selling children's books he wrote and illustrated. Do you know, a producer for the other show, our dog's name is Sally. And then came his vision. I remember the moment perfectly where I had this idea pop in my mind to build a chapel for dogs. Oh, now we're getting to the story. I should have read it first. So they built a chapel for dogs and for people. We like that. Multi-purpose chapel. It says here, welcome all creeds, all breeds, no dogmas allowed. So there are carved dogs everywhere in the chapel, even a dog angel on top of the steeple. The chapel opened in 2000 is more than anything a room full of love. Oh, look at this. Oh, wow, it's full of pictures. See this? These are your photographs. Oh, look at the dog statues, which represents their 2 dogs. So it says every inch, floor to ceiling has been covered with layers and layers of photographs and messages people have left. So lots of people have been going there. Oh, November 8th, 2018, Butter. It's been 365 days without you. I feel only one day closer to accepting it. Miss you, old girl. Oh. Says it can be overwhelming for some visitors. I bet you a lot of people cry. Oh, so it's like if you lose somebody, if you lose a dog, you can go there and, worship and pray. Or if your dog has an illness, you can go pray for them there. It says here, how many places are there where society lets you grieve for a dog with all your heart the way you want, or the way you would a person? I agree. I think a lot of times in society, I make fun, right? I do say things that are a bit crass, like, success to me means not ever having to talk about animals. But I wouldn't have done this if I wasn't an animal lover. Absolutely not. And so I find that, I do get very sensitive when animals are hurt or when they die. And I think a lot of people underestimate how painful that could be. Dogs have a soul. A shoe sole. But yeah, look at this, many pictures. So let's take a look at the chapel again. This is it on the inside. This is a sign, right, in the front. Look at this. Look at this. I love it. Look, look. What is this? Is this a barn? I don't know. But yes, very exciting. Thank you for that. I think we ought to be sensitive to people that lose their pets. I think we ought to honestly understand that pets are part of the family, and it can be devastating to lose a pet because that's the one animal that, is forced to listen to you. Forced to listen to your words, forced to be in your company, and they deserve to be mourned. They deserve to be mourned. That's all I've got to say about that subject. And you know what? I wanted to look at something. So when we were looking at the Cara Delevingne story, there was something that struck me. I think there's a trending story. What's the trending story? The trending story. I think there's a story about what do you call it? Harry and Meghan. Yeah. So congratulations to them, because they definitely are able to call oh no. Oh no, I just saw something. Oh no, this is really sad. So there was, oh gosh. I'm going to, okay, so after seeing this, I feel stupid talking about Harry and Meghan. Check this out. I don't want to say it because, well, you know how YouTube is. Oh my gosh. 7 have perished in the Hamburg incident. So an armed man came in at a Jehovah's Witnesses church in Germany. So at this point, they don't know if the culprits are dead or alive. I'm being very careful about the words that I'm using. I'm not trying to minimize anything. It's just that, YouTube has some very strict rules about what you say and not, or else they just make sure that my video isn't seen or anything. Or over here it says, this is very recent. So at least 7 people are no longer with us and dozens are wounded. The culprits just went ham in Hamburg, in a church in Hamburg, at a Jehovah's Witness kingdom hall. Nothing ever happens to them people. How is it like suddenly? So apparently one of the culprits seemed to be one of the people that may have perished. So that's good news. So this is in Germany, which is one of 2 or 3 big cities that have been highlighted with that kind of incident lately. So yeah. So they don't know what the motive is. It's still completely unclear, but it seems here that this is where some of the officers came into the building, and you can see them here. Oh my goodness. This is really sad. But this is certainly more important than Harry and Meghan. I mean, congratulations to them on Charlie and Elizabeth getting their titles, right? Prince and Princess. So congratulations to them on that. And I don't know, this is really sad. I hope things are handled at this point, but there are no more people that are going to get hurt or perish. So yeah. I think when we were passing through, there was that story about the people in Mexico. One of the reasons I really wanted to get a live channel was because of the Shanquella situation, that young woman that was in Mexico with her friends, and she wound up perishing, apparently at the hand of one or all of the friends. And at this point, they still don't know exactly what happened, but there was a video that went around. And I remember being so disgusted and so angry about it that I said, I need to be able to talk about other things. I can't just talk about, we love animals, yeah, but like they say, if you can't love people as well, then there's a problem in it. And I see that a lot of people have that issue where, we give a lot more love to animals. And it's because, yeah, they're defenseless, and children are defenseless as well. But we really have to dig in our hearts to say, you know what, nobody deserves to think they're going on vacation with their friends and to not come back to their families and to their lives. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I said, as the whole thing died down, I said I wanted to be the one to continually talk about Shanquella, who did not deserve what happened to her, and wanting to make sure that people are aware that, it's not everybody that you can trust. It's not everybody that you can travel with. And that whole situation with the 4 people that went to Mexico, and 2 of them did not come back. And apparently it's all because the people that kidnapped them thought they were like a rival drug dealing group or whatever. And it turns out that one of them was just getting some sort of cosmetic procedure, and she came with a couple of friends and, you know, a cousin or something like that. And next thing you know, right, they're in the middle of a shootout. 2 don't come back and 2 are wounded. Yeah, that's not normal. That's absolutely not normal. And there's something going on out there in Mexico that we're really not talking about, right? We're not talking about it much. I'm gonna put her Shanquella's face up because I really want to highlight the fact that we ought never to forget her and what happened to her. And so this is her picture. And here's what there's been saying, the latest. The family calls for justice in death of Shanquella Robinson. Sorry, in her perishing of Shanquella Robinson. I know, I hate that I can't say the word, but it's better this way. Who was allegedly by a friend on Mexico vacation. She was only 25. She was at a luxury resort in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. And this happened in 2022, October 2022. The family of North Carolina woman who was allegedly to death while on a Mexican getaway. I said the word, like, I'm so new. Who's perished at someone's hands, is pleading for the people or persons who did this to get arrested. Apparently it hasn't happened yet. None of them have yet to be taken in. Despite all that footage, you know, that's what I'm saying. When someone invites you outside into another country and you don't really know them, be very, very careful that you find out what the laws are, because those are places where people can just disappear and nothing will happen to them. It's almost as if they knew that if they did this elsewhere, that nothing would happen to them. And in fact, no one's been arrested yet. There's a video and everything of her getting the life out of her, practically. I mean, she was internally decapitated. And the friends told her parents that she died of, she perished of alcohol poisoning. Yeah. So, yeah, let's not forget her. And I think more and more people need to be careful when they leave the country, because the rules are different. They're very, very different. If you've got enough money, you can definitely get away with it. And if that country depends a lot on tourism, they will definitely cover up some things, because that's what they depend on to run the country. All right. Okay, so I mean, look, I don't want to leave on a sour note. I definitely want to leave on a better note. Let's see. Okay. Well, this isn't a better note, but but I think this is definitely important. Yeah, I agree with this. I think this is an important thing that we ought to look at. A young woman names the one specific thing she believes to be the biggest red flag in humans, and almost everyone agrees with her. So she said, people who keep rescuing or buying animals despite not having enough money or time to care for them have poor impulse control. Yeah, like people who keep cheating on you, poor impulse control. Yeah. So this is what she says.
People who are constantly complaining that they can't keep on top of like their family life, their kids, they're always complaining about money, they're always broke, and yet somehow every single week without fail they have a brand new pet. They have like 7 guinea pigs, 60 snakes, I don't know how many dogs and cats. It's like, no shit, you're struggling, Stacy. You keep adding elements to the mix. It always makes me feel really bad for those animals too, because a lot of the time they're not well taken care of. And to me, it just signals poor impulse control that you have to just keep adding critters to the mix to deal with your stress. And I just don't feel like that's a very healthy or sustainable way of dealing with your problems. But anyways, I can't talk because in my head, I definitely want to compound with like 7 dogs. So I guess I'm one of.
Okay, so definitely, people, if you're hoarding pets, yeah, that's why your life isn't going well. Yeah, if you're collecting pets, magazines, all sorts of things, yeah. Pets require money. Why? Because you've got to buy them food. Sometimes you've got to bring them to the vet. You've got to do all sorts of things with them. So if you keep complaining about money, yeah, stop buying, rescuing pets if you cannot properly take care of them. And then stop complaining about it. I can't do nothing. I've got too many to do. Stop it. You're what's wrong. You're the problem. You're the drama. All right. Well, thank you.